Alrighty, y'all. What's going on? Welcome back. It's now Thursday. You know what the air quotes mean. We are here, Thursday, and we're here to give our Super Bowl predictions.
Yeah.
We're hyped up. We're excited. Super Bowl 55. I think it's going to pay off, and it's going to produce everything that everybody thinks it's going to.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be wild. And as promised, me and Andrew, we're going to kind of dive into a couple complexities or a couple key matchups that we think are going to be important in terms of how the game is going to play out. So we definitely did some of our own research, and we sort of knocked it down to about 10 key points that we're just going to talk about really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end, we will give our predictions in terms of what we think is going to happen.
Yep.
Might even do scores potentially. And we'll run through it all. So, first thing we have written down is pass rush.
Sure.
For me, I believe that one of the strengths of Tampa Bay is the pass rush. If you look at their success up until this point, what's been a staple? It's been the pass rush.
Absolutely.
And we'll get into this point later on, but the Chiefs are plagued with injuries on their offensive line. And Patrick Mahomes is still nursing a toe injury. Do I think it's going to be a huge factor? I do not. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I do think the pass rush will be. And that's the thing, we talked about it before in many other videos. If the pass rush can get home and maybe not even hit him, but just get close,
Make a move.
that will have to alter something. Now, to what degree, we'll see. But I do believe that that pass rush is going to get home, and I think they're going to punish him. I think they're going to, if the Bucs are going to win the game, Patrick Mahomes has to be very dirty.
Yep.
Very, very dirty. That's going to be a key. They're going to have to punish him all day long. And if you look at one more thing, if they look at it, when they lost, what was one thing they didn't do? They didn't blitz. Devin White is ranked top 2 in the league in terms of blitzing linebackers, in terms of success rate, in terms of actually sacking the quarterback. They need to utilize Devin White, pressure Patrick Mahomes, blitz with 5. You got to have confidence in that secondary at some point. They're going to get the yards regardless, but you got to get to Patrick Mahomes and get him dirty.
I think, so there's a few ways I can see this going, right? I think part of me thinks, best thing that the Chiefs can, the Bucs can do is contain Patrick Mahomes on the outsides and rush up the middle.
Correct.
Right? But then you get into some issues, right? Okay, what if they decide to double team the middle? All of a sudden now you're containing, you're not rushing him as hard. Okay, now he has all day. So I think that's where coaching comes in, right? You have to be able to coach those moments, moment to moment, right? You can't go in with, this is our game plan, this is what we're doing all game, because at the end of the day, you got Andy Reid on the other side of the ball too, so he's not going to let you get free hits on Patrick Mahomes. So it's going to be very interesting. We talked about it last week. You have to rush Patrick Mahomes smart. You can't rush him with brute force because he's more athletic than you, I promise. So he's going to make you look stupid. So you have to rush him smart. You have to confuse him. Maybe some stunts, blitzing, right? Sophisticated blitzing, not run up this gap and make it happen because he's an intelligent quarterback.
Yep.
It's going to be very interesting to see exactly how they decide to rush. Do they pick on those tackles a little heavy and then give him a little more space up the middle, because you can't rush everybody that hard because he's gonna escape.
Because if you look at the strength of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where is their strength? On the outsides, on both sides, with JPP and Shaq Barrett. They are monsters.
And they still have Ndamukong Suh in the middle, and Vita Vea in the middle.
Yes.
So,
and you're not running the ball against Tampa. Let's just put that out there right now. They will not run with success against Tampa. It's not going to happen. Because the Saints and the Green Bay Packers had a better rushing attack, and they did nothing.
The only way I can see Kansas City running the ball effectively is if they pass the ball effectively early, right? Or if they run the ball to no avail on purpose to set up the passing game, in which case now you're playing complementary football. Now the running game's going to be better because the passing game is better. So the way teams play Kansas City, I know I'm kind of bleeding into a lot of the few other things that we're going for. The way teams have to play Kansas City is you have to double Tyreek Hill, man on front, man on the back end. And you have to take a linebacker and a safety and assign him to Travis Kelce.
Correct.
Because you need that big body and the quickness to be able to stop him. That's 4 guys on 2 players already.
Correct.
So how many more guys do you have on the field that can effectively stop the run and also rush the passer?
Correct.
So you're running out of players to do certain assignments to the point where it's going to turn into rock, paper, scissors, where you kind of have to guess what they're going to do next,
Right.
because they're so hard to stop. So I think that's where Kansas City gets their power on offense from, is there's way too many things you have to account for.
Of course.
And way too much talent at receiver and tight end. Not to mention they don't have schlubs at the other receiver positions either.
Right.
So and not to mention their quarterback who can escape and make things happen and extend a play, and so it's going to be very difficult to key in on one defensive thing, like you said. But they have such a talented variety on defense. They have linebackers that can stuff the run.
Mm-hmm.
They have defensive ends that can rush the passer. They have defensive tackles that can provide pressure up the middle. So if there's any defense that can do it, it's Tampa, because they have so many of those different things. The only thing that concerns me is that secondary. If the pass rush doesn't get there,
What do they do?
what do they do?
Correct.
Right. How are you going to be able to make a stop? And that's going to come down to coaching on Bruce Arians' part.
Correct.
Are those players going to be in the proper positions to make a play?
And I think it's the same thing. I think the same rules apply for the Kansas City Chiefs too. It's going to
Absolutely.
come down to pass rush. You have to get Tom Brady dirty as well, because I think if Tom Brady knows that front four can get pressure in Kansas City.
Mhm.
However, I do believe in terms of pass rush, I do believe Tampa Bay is a lot more equipped to apply consistent pass rush
absolutely.
from different places.
100%.
And I also think Tampa Bay is more equipped to stop pass rush as well. The entire offensive line is more or less healthy. They do not give up many sacks. Tom Brady hasn't been sacked more than twice in the entire playoffs in each individual game. That's pretty damn good.
And that's why he's in Super Bowl.
Correct. And on top of that, Tom Brady is now running his version of his offense. What does that mean? Checkdowns, quick passes. He's going to go right back to the old school days. Okay, bring 7. I'm going to dump it 2 yards out and we're going to go get 15.
And then
All day.
And then all of a sudden you send someone on the street,
Correct.
get a wide open pass.
Correct.
Down
And on
the
top
line,
of that,
set that up.
You're right. And I think let's kind of go into the next point, quarterback battle, right? Obviously, with any game, it's always a quarterback battle. Whoever wins the quarterback battle usually is going to win the game, right?
Especially in a game like this.
And I don't think we need to dive too much into that because we just talked about it. But I think the one thing, if you're a Kansas City fan, how committed are they going to be to the run? Right? Because I don't care who you are or what you are. I don't think you can be successful throwing 70 times.
No.
You have to do something on the other end of the spectrum.
And the Chiefs have shown that when they don't run the ball effectively,
They don't win.
games are way too close.
Yes.
Or they don't win.
You look at the 2 losses they have. Wait, 2 losses?
They do have
had?
2 losses, but one of them Patrick Mahomes didn't play a down.
True.
So
And you look at the other one, where he did
Against the
play
Raiders.
against the Raiders, but they ran the ball
they ran the ball for 60 yards.
9 times,
10
times,
something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
So if you elect not to run the ball, you're taking a very big risk, because that's the one thing that your team struggles with. So even if you see that daunting linebacker core and that center of that Bucs defense, you have to be willing to take chances, run the ball up the middle, let your guys do your thing. You got 2 solid running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back. Le'Veon is playing well.
Yep.
So you need to be able to set up your offense in such a way where you're going to run the ball a third of the time.
Correct.
A third. That's not even that much.
No.
Run the ball 15, 20 times.
Correct.
You're setting your offense and your passing game up to succeed.
That's the key number 20.
Mhm.
I think that's the key. If you're Kansas City, you need to hit 20 rushes to win the game. You have to hit 20 rushes. And it can't be quarterback. It's got to be actual committed rushes.
Right.
And I'll add this point in too, rush attack. Very, very underrated point here. If Tampa Bay is going to win the game, they need to be very productive
effectively.
running the football. Why? Because if you look at every game that they've won in the playoffs so far, the rush attack has had a significant presence. And it's important. Pull those defensive backs up. Pick on a guy like Tyrann Mathieu. I know everybody hypes him up and he's so great this standing. He's a head case. And you could bully him if you want to.
Right.
If you can get in his head and get him into the box, that back front is very susceptible to the deep ball. So if you can get Tyrann Mathieu up into the box with the rush attack of a Leonard Fournette, of a Ronald Jones, and then just send him over the top, hello.
So when you touch on Kansas City's defense, right, you're correct. Kansas City's defense is a little susceptible to the deep ball, especially when they're choking up on that run.
And the linebackers are not very good.
No, they're not outstanding.
Nope.
Not by any means. The defense is certainly Kansas City's weak point.
Correct.
But the thing about their defense that I love and appreciate as a Broncos fan from 2015, they fly around.
They go get it. Oh,
they go get it.
Absolutely.
They are going to. Tom Brady better make sure his arm is feeling good that day because he's going to have to rifle some balls.
Yep.
Because you're not going to get floated passes into holes at all. Someone's going to come out of nowhere and snag it, swat it down, and that's why you say like Tyrann Mathieu. He is a head case. He's a little bit.
Don't get me wrong. He's damn good.
No, and that's what I mean. He's gonna fly around the football field like nobody's business. He's the best athlete on that defense. So anytime you throw a ball in that 15, 20-yard range,
that's his zone.
He's gonna be there.
Correct.
Whether the catch is made or not, he's probably making the tackle, or he's swatting the ball away, or he's getting a pick.
Right.
So you have to be very careful about how, and like you're saying, the running game is going to be so important to Tampa's game plan because if you don't run the ball, that defense is going to be ball hawking all game long.
Yep.
They're going to get a pick off of you, and they're going to maybe almost score off of it too.
Correct.
So you have to be very careful and pick your spots because you're not going to be able to throw the ball all over the field. Brady's not going to win the game throwing 40 times.
No.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
I think he's got to shoot to that 30, 35 range.
Correct. And 20 to 25 rushes for them.
Exactly. They need to have a very balanced attack because that's where Kansas City is going to fall apart. Win that time of possession battle, keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, and that's when you're going to see, okay, let's make some things happen. The less possessions you give Patrick Mahomes, the better.
And you know what? You just came up on a great point that we should also talk about that just kind of hit me. Time of possession. Both of these teams, what people don't understand is that they are not time of possession heavy teams.
No, I was just going to say that.
Both of them lose the time of possession battle almost every game. So I'm very curious to see who's going to take that over because I think both teams need to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams need to have the ball in their hands more because you don't want the ball in Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes' hands because you know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a very, very interesting point there to make.
I do think the Bucs are going to end up winning the time of possession battle just because their running game's a little more consistent.
Kansas City, they're heavy hitters.
Exactly.
They go deep.
Tampa's going to be more willing to lean on that running game a little more than Kansas City, I think, will. Tampa needs the running game more than Kansas City does. So I think it'll be slim, but I think I think Tampa's going to get the time of possession battle won. But by how much is going to be the big question.
Correct. And we already kind of touched on this, but Tampa 2 versus Tyreek Hill, very, very important. They're going to have to play Tampa 2, which pretty much what means is they send two safeties, 15 to 20 yards back. They shade them to the spot that they need to be shaded. So they're pretty much running a cover 2, or they're pretty much going a two-man high on a person, right?
Yeah.
So they're pretty much saying, hey, Tyreek Hill, you're going to get doubled every single play.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Travis Kelce, wherever you're at, you're going to get shaded or you're going to get doubled every single play. Right? And that's what it's going to take because they didn't do that last time. And Tyreek Hill had 247 yards in the first half.
You have to do some sort of, either you need a pass off or you need a double. So there's two ways you can do it. You can do a cover 2 man or you can do a cover 2 zone, which is what you're talking about, the Tampa 2. You have a guy who runs kind of in that flat quarter area of the field on that left side where Tyreek's mostly going to kind of work.
Yep.
They're going to kind of drop back, follow him, and then all of a sudden he starts passing back. You go, okay, safety, he's yours. Better make sure that safety's ready to take him too.
Correct.
Because you need to be able to communicate there.
Or you don't even trade him off.
Or you don't trade him off.
Keep
You just
him
keep
on there
on
and you just put a safety over the top.
That'll be your
either
man.
way. That's what I would do because they tried that and it didn't work.
Right. So you need to be able to communicate that well, which last time they didn't. So, and then you have to think, well, Andy Reid's going to have something in the books. So if you run that cover 2 man, you better have someone who's fast on him because the second they realize you're doubling him down the field, he's going to take it horizontal. And then he's going to start making you miss, and all of a sudden it's over.
Correct.
Now you're doubling Tyreek Hill. Great. What are you going to do with Travis Kelce? Okay. You're going to have the same thing, cover 2 man over the top. You're going to take a linebacker to safety, man him up, jam him up on the line, make sure he doesn't get to that first down marker. Now all of a sudden, you got Sammy Watkins. He's ready to play again.
Right. Yep.
And you got can't remember his name, number 17.
Mecole Hardman.
Mecole Hardman. He's not a slug either. So you hit him on a slant route all of a sudden he's running behind Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce's getting doubled. He's running past him. So the Chiefs' offense is very
Intricate.
hard to
Yep.
work around and intricate.
Correct.
So you have to throw a bunch of different things at them at the same time to confuse them and make it so that they can't get a game plan down.
Right. And we kind of talked about this too. Linebackers versus Travis Kelce. That's going to be important. I don't think we need to go too much into that.
No.
Talked about the rush attack. Turnover battle. This is going to be big. It is big with any game when it comes to the NFL, but specifically this one, because I think the turnovers are going to be low, but I think the turnovers that do occur are going to be very important.
And I think this is where the Chiefs have the edge because offensively they're very careful with the football. They don't make mistakes. And when they do make mistakes, they fix them real quick. They don't shun their players like a lot of other teams do. Mekhi Hardman, for example, muffed a punt, gave the Bills perfect field position in the AFC Championship game. The next offensive drive gave him the ball, he took it 60 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So they make sure you get it right, and they're going to let you succeed. And that Chiefs defense, they're go-getters.
Mm-hmm.
They force turnovers. They take the ball away. There are turnovers and there are takeaways. The Chiefs get takeaways.
Yep.
They make sure they go get the ball. The Bucs are very good at putting their players in positions to make plays, but they don't force turnovers like a lot of high-level, fast-moving defenses do. And I think a lot of that is because of the talent at the secondary level, right? The secondary plays well because the front seven plays well. If they can get a strip sack on Patrick Mahomes, that's one thing. It's kind of hard to do because he's so fidgety.
Right.
And Tom Brady is more susceptible to making those. He will try to flick the ball into tight spaces. He's more susceptible to making those mistakes than Patrick Mahomes is. But Tom Brady has shown, even if he throws 3 picks in a game, he's still gonna go win it.
Right.
So you can't count him out just because of it.
And that's the thing, this is where I disagree with you a little bit, because I think that Buccaneers defense is very opportunistic in terms of creating turnovers, actually.
Okay.
If you look at Green Bay, they had 2 forced fumbles in
Sure.
2 very big situations and an interception. That was pretty big for them. So I think that turnover battle is important, but I think what's equally as important is who ends up having the ball last.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I think, so another thing we need to talk about, Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown.
Yes.
Right? Because I think those 2 guys right there are going to be really big, underrated matchups against the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of the sense of, I don't think they had the speed to cover those 2.
Absolutely.
And they could be those 2 people that we're talking about where they're going to go over the top, right? Because you can't sneak up on, even with Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. They're too big, they're too fast, they're too strong for you to not know where they are. But it's Scotty Miller and Antonio Brown, which is crazy to say Antonio Brown.
Sure.
But the season that he's had and coming off that knee injury, curious to see what he's going to look like, number 1. And number 2, he's a freak. So is Scotty Miller. You saw it against the Green Bay Packers. Scotty Miller had that, really won the game for him with that touchdown pass right at the end of the second quarter going into halftime. That was beautiful. I think that's going to be a key for them if you're a Buccaneers fan.
Absolutely.
And then I think there's 2 more things. If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, what does the sideline presence look like if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, right? Because you know that offense, how they play, sideline to sideline. It's not up and down, sideline to sideline, right? They have so much speed. So I'm curious to see what the Buccaneers are going to be able to do defensively to try to slow that down, right?
Right. Because what are the Bucs going to choose? Really, what are you going to give to the Kansas City Chiefs? Because they're going to take something. What are you going to choose to give, and how much of it are you going to give to them?
Correct.
So if you let them I would rather them go side to side, because that's not going downfield.
Correct.
So let's make them do something side to side. Let's make that happen. Because if you don't, then the only other option is vertical. And you're not going to win that battle.
No. But the tricky thing is, right, you go sideline to sideline long enough, it's going to open up the vertical presence.
Sure.
Right, so you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't in a sense,
the Chiefs'
So I'm really interested to see what happens there. And then kind of the last point that I think we should try to touch on is, what is the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line going to look like, right? They're missing 2 key starters, Mitchell Schwartz, their right tackle, and Eric Fisher, who's a Pro Bowler.
Forgive me
at their left tackle.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but at right tackle, I feel like he's been out for a while.
Yeah, it was recent. It was actually Eric Fisher. Oh no, actually, you're right. It was the right
Fisher
tackle.
got out in
Fisher tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
So he's done.
Yeah, he's done for a minute.
So they're missing their right tackle and left tackle. And look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' strengths in terms of pass rush. Where does it come from? Both edges.
Yep.
That is going to be key. Can those 2 tackles on the outside, 2 replacement tackles, stand up to Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett?
Yeah.
Those dudes are stuck.
Having thinness on the offensive line position is not exactly what you want going into a Super Bowl.
And definitely not against a pass rush like that.
Not against a pass rush like that, right. So, but if I'm going to have anybody back there dealing with a pass rush like that.
You want Patrick Mahomes.
I want Patrick Mahomes.
Correct.
So, it'll definitely be a point to watch because if they get even like 2 or 3 sacks and they start hitting Patrick Mahomes, it's a problem.
Yep.
It's a big problem.
And if they can do it early,
because now you're not even letting plays develop. That's the thing that's going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Is if you can't let your plays develop in front of you, good luck.
Yeah, I mean with any team, if the play can't develop, how are you gonna make a play?
Right.
Because
they're not a quick play offense.
No, not usually. And now we have gotten to the moment of truth.
Predictions.
Drum roll. Who do you got, man? Who do you think is going to be taking home Super Bowl 55 in Tampa? Do you think it's going to be the reigning, defending Super Bowl champs, or do you think the people defending home turf? Do you think it's the new cats on the block? You think it's the underdogs? Who do you think is going to win this game?
In any other year, I would pick the team that had the home game. The first time in the Super Bowl. But because there's maybe 25,000 fans there, which will be a lot, but not all of them are going to be from the Tampa Bay area. They're pretty much shipping people from all over the country there to help celebrate healthcare workers as they should.
Yep.
And teachers in the area and things of the sort. So I think they're doing it right, obviously. But I think people could probably guess from how I've been talking about it for this long. I think I would be lying to you if I said I thought the Bucs would win this game. I think Kansas City has way too much firepower on offense. They're extremely well coached. The only thing would be that offensive line is probably my only concern. But for there to be one concern, and obviously that defense isn't the biggest strong suit, but I think Kansas City is on this other upper echelon of they're building this is a dynasty in the making.
I agree.
And I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. I think the Chiefs are going to take it. I'll give you a score too.
Sure.
31-24, Kansas City.
So by a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I wonder.
Y'all know where I'm going, baby. I'm going Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Just because, I'm never going to bet against Tom Brady.
No.
Never going to bet against Tom Brady.
It's
He's never given me a reason not to.
It's fair.
And, I think there's a couple of things for me. You look at the NFL. The NFL likes stories, right? It's kind of a boring story to have the Kansas City Chiefs win 2 years in a row. Yeah, sure. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty, but when's the last dynasty you've seen that's won 3 in a row?
3 in a row?
Correct. Never.
Never.
Correct. So it's always 3 and 4 years.
It's true.
And if you look at it, what's the last dynasty that's happened? What year? Who was it? Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
Correct. They won 1 Super Bowl. They lost the next one. Then they won
2.
Correct. It's usually in the second season where teams will lose a game.
Okay.
So that's one factor. I think the second factor is I think that Tampa Bay is going to have more. I just think they're going to have more pride and more at stake. I think whether that's actually true or not, who knows? It's a Super Bowl at that point. I mean, shit. If you're not trying to win, then you shouldn't even be there. But I think being at home, and having a significant backing, even though it might not be all Tampa Bay fans, even though it is at home, they will have a majority of the fans.
Absolutely.
And that's going to have to make a difference in some fashion.
Sure.
And I think the big thing for me is that I just feel as though this is Tampa Bay's year.
Okay.
This is a Tom Brady season.
Yeah.
This is just a classic season for him.
That's it.
Oh man, they're gonna do it all this year. They're gonna be so good for 6 games. They kind of suck. I don't know if they're gonna do it. Tom Brady's washed. He's done. He can't beat anybody, and he's back again. And he's doing a lot of things that make me feel good enough.
Sure.
And again, I think it's not gonna be easy. right? And I think what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do this time is that if you look at the teams they lost to, and I'll keep harking back to the Saints, right? The Saints keep coming up in my head. Why? Because they got smashed by them twice. And what did they do? And I'm so glad I have this on camera, right? Because I said this. It felt as though they were gathering information. At a certain point in time, they just said, hey, forget it. We're not winning this game. Let's just make them spend as much as they can and try to gather information. Who knows? Maybe they did the same thing as the Chiefs.
Sure.
Because listen, how do you let a guy go off for 245 in a half? Like, like you have to try to do that, you know. And I just think, you know, my brother had mentioned this in another video in the comments. He said, you know, Andy Reid's creativity sometimes gets his players into trouble.
It's true.
You know, is he going to try to be too creative and get his quarterback into trouble? We've seen it 2 years in a row, where he's gotten injured, you know, that kneecap, and then, you know, that quote unquote concussion.
It was like a spinal concussion.
Right, correct. And, you know, I'm curious to see there, but I just feel like Tampa's gonna gate this, man.
You got a score?
I'm going 38 Tampa, 34 Kansas City.
Oh. So last drive of the game, Patrick Mahomes needs to get a touchdown to win it. Can't seal it.
No,
or do you think Brady puts up that last touchdown?
I think it's the other way around. I think Brady gets the ball last, and I think he's gonna drive down and get it.
Listen, I'm open for a good game. I think it'll
it's gonna be a good game.
It'll be a lot of fun.
It's not gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be very close. I don't even think it's gonna be a touchdown differential, as you can tell from my prediction.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be high scoring.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, whoever wins, they did a better job of slowing down the other team.
Yeah.
Not stopping, but slowing down. Neither team you can stop.
Yeah.
They're too freaking loaded on.
At this point.
Correct. So you just gotta try to slow them down better than the other team. And I'm telling you, bro. I just think Tampa Bay is gonna find a way. I really do think Tampa Bay is gonna find a way. Tom Brady's got that rub, man.
That's it.
He's got that juice, and he's got iron cojones, bro.
See that?
He ain't scared, dog. And we made a bet off camera. Andrew said that if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win, he's gonna buy a Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirt.
Do it.
And if they win, clearly I'm buying it all. I'm buying everything. And I'm gonna wear it on camera too.
Before we close out, very quickly, I want to just shamelessly shill for a little bit. I have a YouTube channel of my own. It's a gaming channel. It's not really like what's going on here. So it's a lot different. But if you're interested, link will be in the description below. Me and my cousin Vin, we do a Super Bowl special as well. That's going to be out tomorrow and Saturday. We play some Tecmo Bowl, some classic NES Tecmo Bowl from back in the day. You'll get to see me flex with Bo Jackson. It'll be a lot of fun.
And on top of that, if y'all looking for his channel, he's in my information on my channel as one of the co-creators of the Sit Down Sports Edition. So he's there. And yeah, his link is in every description of these sports stuff. So if you're looking for that, go into one of the sports things, it'll be there. As well as it'll be here for this one. So go check it out, y'all. Let's go support. And guys, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Crazy to think that this is the last one. This is the last one.
Before the season's over.
And then the next time we see y'all, the season is over.
Super Bowl recap.
And then we'll give a Super Bowl recap and
maybe we'll talk about that Matt Stafford, Jared Goff.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get creative, right? Because now that we're going into the off season, we're gonna have to figure out other things to talk about, and we will.
Free agency.
We will. There's a lot to talk about, but we'll get there when we get there. But alrighty, y'all. If you're rooting for Tampa Bay, good luck. Go Tampa. If you're rooting for Kansas City, good luck as well.
Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game. Have fun. Be safe.
Be responsible.
And we will see you guys on Tuesday. But until then, we will see you guys later.